let's be honest, being a PT in the UK right now is pretty hard. And we're not talking about the training part, we're talking about the money part. More and more people are becoming PTs every single year, but 90% of them don't make it past the first 6 months. This is due to, unfortunately, having a lot of the PT skills, the exercise skills, but not so much the business skills. I think a lot of the time you get these guys that are saying, I'm making 6 figures a month online, here's my course on how exactly to do it. And these kind of Alex Hormozy types, obviously they've done really well, they are far more successful than me, but I think sometimes when you're at the very top of the pyramid and you're giving down advice to people at the kind of very bottom starting out, maybe their first 6 months as a PT, maybe they've got no clients, maybe they've got like 1 or 2, this kind of advice isn't really useful at that stage. I myself have been a personal trainer for 2 years and have been a fully self-employed personal trainer for about a year and 9 months. I'm just going to give you some ideas and tools that have helped me get from 0 clients to being what I would describe as fairly comfortable financially. Now again, it's not glamorous, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not making 6 figures a month, but I've managed to turn this into a job. One of the biggest bits of advice I think that's given out to personal trainers is that you need to niche down. And this is useful advice, I think, when you're getting on. But when you're starting out, sometimes when you're so entrenched in a niche, it can feel like you're facing terrible odds at the Alamo. I think I knew very early on that I wanted to help younger guys, kind of 18 to 35, improve their body composition. That was a very early goal for me, and it was something that I could relate to myself. But I think if I had stuck to this and this alone, I want to do one-to-one training with people of this demographic for this specific goal, I think I really would have struggled. I think that idea of early niching down needs to be taken with a little grain of salt. If you're someone that wanted to kind of train demographics like me, and then all of a sudden you're approached by an older woman that wants to lose fat, I think you would be insane to say no or pass it on to someone else. I've seen this advice go around a lot online that, if someone's outside your niche, hand it off to another PT and then maybe they'll hand someone to you. And to be honest, I have just not really seen these reciprocal relationships actually transpire in real life. When you're in that early phase, you just want bodies through the door and you need to kind of show people what you can do. You need to have your kind of case studies built up and you need to basically, you can niche down later. You just need to be in the space long enough to have the luxury of niching down. And because this mindset, I think it lets a lot of people lose out on, some powerful PT side hustles. Now, your goal might be to fully work with people one-to-one, but it doesn't mean that you need to shut down these side hustles in the meantime. What we're trying to do is keep you in the game long enough so that you can get to have that luxury. One of the most underutilised side hustles that I see kind of going amiss in the space is care homes. Care homes really want to have a lot of activities on, for older folks. And one of the easiest ways that you can kind of break up your day and get a little bit extra money in is by doing chair exercise classes, gentle yoga, things like that. Go a long way. These places often have a big budget for activities for the older people, and things that are going to keep them healthier for longer are very much within their interest. The way that I would say to go about this is to make sure you've got something like, exercise with the elderly or chair exercise, any kind of these CPDs or qualifications, just to keep yourself covered. And, look in your area, you'll probably be surprised how many care homes there actually are. And if you make contact with them, offer them a free trial. If you're good enough, if you're enthusiastic enough, you'll probably convert it. A lot of the times, the older folks, it's not just about the exercise class, it's about just kind of coming in there, smile on your face, younger person, a little bit of energy, a little bit of chat with them, and the care homes will be pretty enthused with your presence. And if you offer them something kind of reasonable, £30 a class or whatever, it's just a really easy way just to get yourself a little bit more money. And one of the biggest bonuses with this is these classes often take place at really kind of unsociable hours. You can really fill up your kind of gaps in your day with this. I know a lot of people will see their clients in the morning, they'll maybe see them around lunchtime, and then they'll maybe see them in the evening. But a lot of the time these classes are going to be 11 a.m. to 11:30, or, 2:30 on a Tuesday. They're actually like times that you probably wouldn't be working. If you don't fancy the care homes, another similar side hustle to this is becoming a bank instructor for your local leisure authority. A lot of the times they really struggle in leisure centres to get their classes covered. There's a kind of a little bit of a shortage at the moment. So you're really kind of in there to contact one of these places. They'll hold a kind of audition for you to see if you're good enough, if they think that your classes are up to standard. But if you're watching this video, they probably are. The good thing with these is you can kind of select them as and when you want to cover, and it's just a little bit extra money that you can pick up. Now, a lot of times, again, I get these people, they'll say to me like, oh, I don't want to do that, I just want to do one-to-ones, I don't care about class, I don't want to be doing classes. And I get that, but to be fair, if you're in a pure gym, if you're in the gym, you're working the floor, you are going to have to do classes for free anyway. So at least for this, you're getting paid for it. And the going rate, from what it depends obviously on your leisure authority, what their kind of going rate is, but I have seen kind of anywhere, if you're talking about the extreme lows, anywhere from like 20 up to about £35, depending on the class type, depending on the authority, depending on your region. But again, adding in a couple of classes a week, it doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you manage to get a couple in a row. You can make a lot of money off that, and it can just make a difference to your kind of revenue over the course of a month. The good thing with these two side hustles, and again, I think you'd probably be best off mixing both of them, I know I do, is they're very much set and forget. A lot of being a PT takes it out of you because you have to constantly organise. You have to constantly organise, your marketing. You've got to constantly organise your kind of lead gen system. And with these classes, a lot of times, you don't have to recruit participants. You turn up, you have a set agreed upon price, you do the class, you walk away, you've got the money. It's as simple as that. It's not a headache, and it just bumps up your revenue so you can keep doing the stuff that you actually want to be doing. The effort level on this next one is going to be a little bit higher, but it can be worth it. You can make a lot of money out of this, and it is small group personal training. I've done this myself, and it really was a great success. With small group personal training, it isn't too different from doing a class. I do kind of think it's a little bit more kind of akin to like High Rocks or CrossFit or something. When I've done it, I've basically just done like a lot of supersets. So maybe we have people go around in kind of teams of 2, and they superset, bench press with immediate barbell rows. The next kind of group of people, they're supersetting squats with dumbbell RDLs. But to be honest, it does just kind of run a little bit like a circuits class, just with a little bit more instruction on the technique. The good thing is, if you structure these things right, maybe you give them a nutrition plan and you do 2 sessions weekly with them, you can actually get them much better results than just going to a class, but you can tick it a lot higher. For small group personal training, something that I like to do is maybe about £10 a head, and this is a little bit more expensive in my area, at least from what classes are, but is obviously significantly cheaper than personal training. The good thing is with this is, if you've got 6 people paying you £10 a head, you're making £60 a class, and you can be making that over an hour. If you do that a couple of times a week, maybe even just twice a week, you can be making about £480 a month. The next one I want to talk about is in-home personal training. This one is actually a really good niche to get into. A lot of times really busy professionals feel like they don't have the time to go down to the gym. And if you've got a car, even a small car like this, you can pack up, some basic equipment, maybe some adjustable dumbbells, some weights, an adjustable barbell. Obviously you're not going to get your Olympic standard barbell in here, but honestly any barbell will do. And you can get about 90% of the same results if you just train them with, a clever exercise selection. The great thing is with this is you're tapping into a market that you otherwise wouldn't. So a lot of times these people feel like they can't go to the gym, and you will not get them into the gym. It can be a confidence issue, it can maybe they feel too busy. But the thing is, if you've got a car, you can go to their house, set up, train them for an hour, get a really great workout in, and kind of charge them the same price that you would as a one-to-one personal training session in the gym, but you've got no overheads. I ended up really stumbling into this by accident, just because I saw on a Facebook group someone in my local area, maybe 10-minute drive from my house, was looking for someone to do this exact thing. I'd never done it before, but I had equipment in my house, I had transport, and I knew where it was. It was a recipe for a little bit extra money at the end of the month. There is, of course, the online thing. Online personal training is such a massive space. You can train people from anywhere in the world. It opens up your available clientele. It gives you a bit more control over your schedule. It also allows you to charge a lower ticket price. In my opinion and my experience, at least for me so far, it has been kind of a hard thing to get into. And it does require, already really good marketing, already tons of client transformations, already a pretty good network so that you can kind of market through, already a good following. I don't want to black pill anyone on online personal training, but I just know that it is pretty hard. But it would be stupid for me not to talk about it. So there are people much more qualified to talk about that than me, but it is maybe something worth looking into. Now, you might see all of these side hustles and think, this isn't what I got into personal training for. I'm not being funny, I wanted to do my one-to-ones, but I'll tell you this. I've told you all these different revenue streams that I've got, and the majority of the money that I make, the majority of the time that I spend is one-to-ones with the described demographic, younger guys looking to change their body composition. Now, why is this? I've pushed all these other things. Surely I would be distracted with these. A lot of personal training, I think, is timing and luck and knowing the right people. And by some miracle, just by being in the space long enough, keeping up that concerted effort, probably the things that you're already doing at home, making your posts, doing the stuff in your Instagram, posting in local Facebook groups, putting up flyers, that stuff will eventually yield the results. But a lot of times it takes ages for that to saturate. It takes ages for you to kind of reap the rewards. A lot of times PTs in that kind of first 6-month period will be putting that out day after day, and they'll catch nothing. It's genuinely because they've not had the time to reap the rewards. I'll be honest, the last year I have been really lazy with my one-to-ones, with my one-to-one recruitment. I would like to do more of it. But because I've been able to be in this industry for, a relatively long period of time, I have just made good on, I trained that person, so then they told their cousin, and their cousin told their friend, and then their friend comes down and trains with me. It's the more time that you are established as a personal trainer, the easier the leads will come. So what these aren't maybe your ideal goal. These maybe aren't the things that you got into PTing to do. But by accessing these, they keep you here long enough so that you can transfer into doing the things you want. I would say all of these kind of side hustles that I've listed, I don't really spend a lot of my week doing them anymore, and it's because it just gave me enough time to eventually start to officially niche down, work with the clients that I initially wanted to work with. So you don't need to go online, you don't need 100,000 followers, you don't need to buy whoever's course to be a better PT. What you need is just enough time for your efforts to pan out. These aren't perfect, ideal fixes, but they are something that can help you stay in the game longer. Now, let me know down below. I know for a fact that I have probably missed a dozen PT side hustles and things that help you to survive a little bit longer. So if you think of any helpful ones that I missed out, please comment them down below. If you've got any questions about this, if there's anything that you disagreed with the video, leave that below too. And if you liked the video, please like the video and subscribe, clicking the bell notification so you can stay up to date on the latest ones.